I've got a good life. It's just different than what it was before I got diagnosed.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
My
No.
professional wrestling days are over.
Each other right now. Oh, there's a grapple. There's a grapple already. It seems to be some sort of test of strength. Oh, here comes the trucker up and kiss. Oh!
When I first got diagnosed or first started having these symptoms, I watched a ton of videos of just regular people explaining what it was like, and it was really helpful to me, so I thought I'd give my best shot to explain everything, because it can be really confusing when it first comes on. 5 years ago, maybe, I was diagnosed with RA. So at first, I had symptoms without knowing I had symptoms, I guess. Like, we'd go grocery shopping and I'd start complaining about how my feet were hurting really bad, which I played a lot of basketball as a kid. I would play 6-7 hours a day up on a concrete basketball court with Chuck Taylors on.
Yeah.
So I just always figured some of the stuff early on was just, wear and tear, arthritis, and getting old. And some of it might have been, right? Then when I'd be playing video games or doing some work at my computer or whatever, I'm in education. Both of those things I could marathon for a long time, but I started getting to where if I was doing it too long, my hands would get so stiff, like I couldn't barely move them. Or they would literally just lock up, really. I'd just have to stop for a while. But at that time, I just started playing a bass guitar. As a middle-aged guy, that's what middle-aged guys do.
It's a natural progression.
It is, along with these kind of hats.
Right.
I'd played guitar before, most of my life, but the bass is much heavier. It's a little more intensive on the fingers and hands, and I was practicing a lot because I really fell in love with it kind of fast. And, so my fingers were hurting, my shoulder was hurting pretty bad. I thought it would go away. I stopped practicing this bass guitar for a little while, whatever, but it didn't. It just kept getting worse. And during that time, at some point, I guess I mowed the lawn, and my hip started hurting. Again, I just thought it was bad, maybe old basketball stuff. But 3 days later, and I could not walk on my hip without a cane, and even barely then, it was so stiff and so painful.
Yeah.
So we decided to go to the doctor, and I already knew something was up. My dad had some kind of autoimmune arthritis. And I can remember him going to the doctor and even mentioning something about it, but we were so poor, we just didn't go to the doctor. I don't know if he ever went back after that. So he just lived with it, and eventually the doctor gave him some, whatever, that's a whole other story. So in the meantime, I went to my doctor. He said, yeah, it sounds like it could be rheumatological or something like that, whatever the word is. So he sets me up with the rheumatologist. That takes a little while, of course. Anytime you're going to get a specialist, it's going to take a while. I think there are 2 in town here, and only one was taking new patients, I guess. So there was that. It took a while. I got into him finally. He was nice.
Sorry, false alarm.
Oh, that's all right. So what they'll do, if you find yourself in this position, once you get in there, like there's a questionnaire, they'll fill on your knuckles some, they'll give you a blood test. But if you meet these criteria, and every one of these little tests, the knuckle thing, the blood test, all are worth a certain amount of points. Mm-hmm. How stiff you are in the morning, I can't remember what they all are. And if you get enough points on this quiz, they'll diagnose you with RA. Now, with the blood test, if you're RA, if you're rheumatoid factor positive or something like that, it's automatically diagnosis. If you're negative, which a lot of people are, and I am, then it takes these other things, right? One of the big ones with RA over some of these other types of arthritis is if your arthritis is equal in both sides of your body. So if this hand is hurting, this hand's going to be hurting. This shoulder's hurting, this shoulder's probably hurting, and that's true with me. Although it's complicated. The autoimmune system gets weird in there. I've also got some symptoms that are more like kind of psoriatic arthritis type, which my grandma had, so I have some skin stuff that goes on. Whatever. Your doctor will figure it out. But it will take a while, and a lot of it's going to be frustrating for both you and your spouse and family, probably.
Well, because I think a lot of it is, it's not guesswork, but a lot of it's ruling out. It's a lot of ruling out. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of let's try this and let's try that, which would be wonderful if we lived in a country where you could do that easily and with approval right away when you need it, and not have to fight back and forth with insurance companies.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, so there was definitely day-to-day things that were frustrating and beyond. Like when it came on really fast and hard for me. It doesn't for everyone. Your symptoms might gradually come on. Mine kind of did, but once it really kicked in hard, I was in a wheelchair if I had to go any place too far. Grocery store, I was in one of those little scooters, and even then it was hard on the thumb to press that acceleration or whatever. So anyway, all that stuff is frustrating, trying to open jars, just playing video games, all the stuff you take for granted, clipping your fingernails, tying your shoes. It all becomes much more difficult and in some cases impossible. Mornings are the worst. You just wake up really stiff. There's been mornings I've been so stiff I couldn't help but start laughing because it just feels funny. Like there's nothing else I can explain. It's like having rubber bands or something tied to your joints. I don't know. It's just very kind of strange feeling. So anyway, then you get to the doctor, you get the diagnosis, you got all these horrible symptoms, you're limping around on your cane, you think, my goodness, there's never going to be any relief, but there is. Again, it's going to take a while. All of these medicines seem to take a long time to even tell if they're going to work. And then if they fail, you got to restart another one, which also takes a long time. So there can be a long time. And in the meantime, when your arthritis is uncontrolled, it's doing permanent joint damage, which I have some now, but obviously it'd probably be a lot worse without these medicines. First, they started me on Plaquenil. Hydrochloroquine is the, I don't know which one's the generic name, but whatever. You probably heard a lot about that during COVID. I think people were taking it. It helped some. It got me out of the wheelchair on long trips, but I was still using a cane or walker a lot. That took about 3 months, I think, before we knew it was working at all. Then methotrexate. And that one worked really well, especially for a while. 3 to 6 months, I think, though, is how long I had to wait. I can't remember exactly before it started working. The methotrexate worked for a while, but still not good enough, to where like working full time would be easy or whatever. So we decided to try biologic. You probably see a million commercials about these, Humira, that kind of thing. These are so expensive. I've made videos on it before. These things are like $5,000 to $10,000 a month.
Yeah.
So
pocket change.
Yeah. So obviously you can't do it without insurance unless you're super wealthy, and if you have our insurance, and you all know the one, they're going to fight you every step of the way. So they fought me to get on the Humira. I finally did. It didn't do jack. So that was disappointing. I failed that one. So then it took a while again to try a new one, and I tried Rinvoq, and it worked really well. That was once a day pill. Like Humira was a shot. This was a pill. And it did work a little faster. Some of these new ones do. Within a month, I was probably feeling better on that one. Mm-hmm. And it lasted a while, almost a year probably. I felt close to symptom-free. I mean, it was close enough for government work, as they say. And then I just stopped. Sometimes that happens. You develop antibodies to these, resistances, whatever. So now I'm kind of back into the place I was, where I'm at the level of how the methotrexate works. Started Skyrizi. It's not what my doctor wanted to start me on, but the one he did want to start me on was more expensive. So guess which one my insurance?
Wait, which one?
The cheaper one.
Oh, okay.
Which isn't working that great. It's done okay. It's helping some with the fatigue, a little with the joints and stiffness, and it's clear up my skin. But that's been it, yeah. So still a lot of pain and stiffness. This last week and a half, I've been in what's called a flare-up. Like, you might go for a while with just minor symptoms or, very little, and not even be thinking about it a lot. And then something might trigger a flare-up. For me, sometimes it's food. Like, there are some good things about having RA. It's forced me to slow down. It's forced me to think about what I put into my body, because we all know eating bad is bad for us in the long run.
No, it's not. You shut your mouth.
That's true, yeah. I mean, trust me, I still do it. But with this autoimmune thing, like, the next day you can feel it. If I eat a bunch of processed food, especially a lot of processed sugar, my joints will be feeling it the next day. Stress is a big one, so I've learned to, not sweat the small stuff more. Meditation, mindfulness, all of that kind of stuff helps. But when you go into a flare-up, it's going to be kind of game over for a little bit. You're just so stiff and sore that doing anything feels uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. But even if you're good with physical pain, the fatigue is probably the hardest thing to live with a lot of the times. it's kind of tired that no amount of sleep takes care of. It's like a real bad case of the flu. And then the brain fog that comes along with that can be very frustrating. Forgetting stuff. I've been in education, and standing in front of a class and not being able to come up with a word when you're supposed to be teaching words. I don't know words too good no more is what it feels like. It gets very frustrating, right? Trying not to complain. I mean, I don't complain about it too much, I hope, because that just makes it worse. Like suffering, 90% of it's in the mind. If you just go along and live your life, like I've got a good life. It's just different than what it was before got diagnosed.
Yeah.
That's all.